computer department in our institute. Sir is involved in research regarding computer engineering, as well as sir is also interested in new dimension, that is related with design. Sir is the leading one in our institute who is taking care of SSIP, NSIP, and IIC. Today we are organizing this particular event under the banner of IIC. Our workshop's title is Design Thinking, Critical Thinking and Innovation Design. Actually, Thaker sir has conducted this workshop for an leading institute, and we have requested sir that you are conducting the event for other students. So please conduct the same event for our students so that our student can also take benefit of your expertise. So without wasting much time, I'll request sir to start the workshop. But before that, one instruction is there for the participants. In the last phase of this workshop, I will float one feedback form. Please fill that feedback form, and based on your feedback form submission, we will provide you e-certificates. So now I am not taking your much time. I am requesting Chirag sir to start with his delivery on design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. Thank you, sir.
Namaskar. Good morning to one and all. Thank you for joining in. Thank you, Ravi sir, for this generous introduction. I hope I am worthy to that. Let us jump to the title: Design Thinking, Critical Thinking, and Innovation Design. And this is under the aegis of Institute's Innovation Council, Government Engineering College, Rajkot, which I am very proud to be member of. So let us salute the Corona warriors, and let us say big thank you to all those people, not only the medical staff, the paramedical staff, but all the people, the municipality workers, the police people, the vendors, the people who delivered goods and vegetables at our doorsteps since March 2020. Let us pray to the Supreme Power that the COVID is over very soon and we resume our normal lives. But during this time, let us follow the COVID protocols, and let us be very punctual in terms of vaccination and the additional or booster dose of vaccination. This is an acknowledgement slide. The presentation acknowledges content, especially images, are taken from Google, and there are certain slides where the Google image URL is there, and there are many slides where the image source is not mentioned. In that case, the universal Google image URL is www.images.google.com. I here declare that the images are used purely for an academic purpose. The presenter has no intention of copyright infringement. With this declaration, let us go to my usual habit of discussing or starting the sessions with quotes. So this is from Albert Einstein. He says, and it is very much relevant also. He says, "I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots." And the second is very much associated with the technology called ICT, Information and Communication Technologies. It says, "Data is the new oil, AI is the new electricity, and the IoT is the new nervous system." And people who just sees these words like big data analytics or AI or machine learning or IoT as buzzwords, please keep it in your mind that these are not buzzwords. These are full-fledged technological domains in which the industry stalwarts are working, the prime industries are working, and there is a lot of technology and research scopes so far as these paradigms are concerned. This two quote is associated with our today's talk. When people talk about innovation in this decade, they really mean design. This is from Bruce Nussbaum. And another one is from John Spencer. John says, "Design thinking isn't a subject. It is an empathy-centered approach to creativity." So this is going to be my flow of presentation. I'll be talking about design thinking, some basics and benefits, and then we'll go to design thinking process. And in design thinking process, we are going to discuss two models. One is double diamond model, which is a novel one, and another one is the empathy-driven model, which is a 5-6 stage model. Then we will have some innovation thoughts, and then I'll also discuss allowed nothing to. So we will discuss portions like invention and innovation, and then maybe innovation process. So we'll discuss first design innovation, then we'll compare invention and innovation. What is the difference? We'll also have some slides on creativity later on. Then I'll be covering innovation process and types of innovations. There are 10 major types of innovations and their impact. And then we'll take one example, one use case study on digital product innovation. And then we will return to problem solving and critical thinking part. So this is going to be the flow. Tim Brown, who is the CEO of IDEO, has defined design thinking like this: is a human-centered approach to innovation that draws from the designer's toolkit to integrate the needs of people, the possibilities of technology, and the requirements for business success. So this is, here you can see this triangle has people, technology, and business. So, and this is very much important, and we are going to discuss the viability, feasibility part and I have many slides for that. So there is a difference between design and design thinking. When I create design, I I have individuals in mind. So designs are for individuals. But if I want to go with design thinking, I need teams. I need teams of innovators. I need teams of people who can think out of box, who are empathy driven. So second is design is for products. So you design products for individuals. But design thinking is a lot of about experiences, how you are going to deal with it. So design thinking not only involves products, it involves processes and systems also. Design is all about engineering and art. And that's why I keep on giving the standard example of Apple company, that if you have uh, 12 megapixel camera of one international brand, and if you want to compare that 12 megapixel camera with Apple's iPhone 12 megapixel camera, if the megapixel camera is same, then you should get the same result. But that is not the case. In fact, sometimes 10 megapixel camera of iPhone gives you better picture quality and view and rendering and image capturing part. Why? What is the reason? Because it is algorithm driven, and that's why you need team where humanities, engineering, and product design is together. And for that, when you talk about design thinking, you basically try to address technology, business aspects, and human. So human centered design is one very important topic. So design thinking is all about, it's not only about products and designing. It's not about, so it's about feeling, imagination, do, that means action, and share. So these four are the pillars of design thinking. If you concentrate on these pillars, you need to have very positive attitude mindset. You need to be, your mindset should be experimental and playful, and you should be future oriented. You should not look about the past product and past processes. You need to be future oriented. You need to think about the tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. Tolerance of mistakes. Just to cross check, am I audible and screen is perfectly visible?
Yes, sir. You are audible and screen is also visible, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Joita, is everything fine with the YouTube live streaming? Oh, but they don't allow me when I.
Sir,
You can
actually
share
the
your
rights for
you
hello,
can
sir.
share your video when you are done screen sharing. That is the message. Do we have any solution, Mehta sir?
Sir, actually I have spotlighted you
Huh.
and present the slides are given to you. So I think
Okay.
and when this meeting was started, prior to that your camera was visible, sir.
Okay. But when I shared the screen, now when I go with the video sharing part, the
Yeah.
message pops up that you can share your video when you are done screen sharing.
Yeah, so I think the meeting is created from my end. That can be the issue.
Okay, but that's fine. If I'm audible, that's fine.
Sir, you are perfectly audible and your slides are also visible, sir.
Fine, fine. Okay.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, welcome. So when we take the thinking dimension, the thinking has to be holistic in nature. It has to be divergent and convergent. Now, what is divergent? You start from the central idea and you take into consideration all the aspects. It's called divergent thinking. And what is convergent? Convergent means many of the thought processes actually assemble at one common point, at one common place. That is the convergent kind of thinking. In thinking, you need to be intuitive enough and you need to be methodological enough also. There has to be emotionality and there has to be rationality also. So one need to be rational enough because there are feasibility aspects, there are business viability aspects also with design thinking. That's why it has to be empathy driven product or process design, but vis-a-vis you need to be rational enough also. And sometimes it should be against stereotypes. So that is also one. It has need to be against stereotypes. So, and once you have, what should be your action? If you are a team, design thinking team, what should be your action set? Achieve empathy. For each people you want to provide the solution, you need to understand there. If you are designing something for construction workers, or if you are designing something for people who are working with circuit design, you need have to achieve empathy. It has to be interdisciplinary in nature, and it has to be have the collaborative part. Visualization of ideas, you should be able to visualize what you are thinking about. And early prototyping is advised, and after that the next immediate point is interaction during the process. So this is going to be the major part of my complete presentation. On one side I'll be talking about design thinking process. I'll cover this stages, and then second is the desirability part, viability part, and feasibility part. So I'll have uh, repetitive slides on this and we will discuss them. And on the other side, I'll also discuss about contextual part, motivation, and culture. So let us discuss the conventional model of design thinking. It starts with empathize, then it goes to ideate, prototype, taste, and define. And we'll discuss every one of them. But it has two major dimensions. One is contextual part, where empathize and define is there, and another one is form part, forms and formats, where ideation and prototype is there. And the merging point is taste. But this slide is specifically kept just to make you aware that it has the flavor of innovation. So when you empathize, innovation should be human centered. When you are going with ideation part, innovation is born from a class of ideas. When you discuss prototype part, innovation should be brought to life. And when you are in the defined stage, innovation should solve a problem. So let us try to understand this first design thinking model. So what is empathize? So try to learn about the audience for whom you are designing the product or process or system by observing and interviewing. Sometimes you just observe them and you think about the uh, define, create a point of view that is based on user needs and user insights. So this is design. Ideate is all about collecting all possible ideas, all possible, sometimes wildest imagination ideas. So ideation is very centered, where you brainstorm and come up with as many creative solutions as possible. And building is the actual implementation. Prototype, in a conventional term, we always used to say that prototype is nothing but it's a working model. So build a representation of one or more of your ideas and show it to others. And taste is, share your prototype idea with your original user for feedback. But it seems this is not complete one. So now we have kept this: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, taste, and then see additional one component is added or process element is added, that is implement. Put the vision into effect. So, and it is centered around three major thought processes. When you are in the understanding part, it is empathize and define. And it says conduct research to develop an understanding of your users for whom you are designing the process or product. Define, combine all your research and observe where your users problems actually exist or where they fit in. So fit in or exist, that's the verb. Then you enter the explore part. That's where ideation and prototype comes. Generate a range of crazy creative ideas. And prototype is all about build real tactile representation for a range of your ideas. And then you test, return to your users for feedback. And in software world, we call it beta testing or initial testing, and implement, put the vision into actual effect. And this is a cycle. So basically what you try to do is you are going to empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and implement. In empathize, observe users in their environments. So if I'm designing, continuing with my previous example, if I'm designing for construction workers, or if I'm designing for the circuit makers, observe them in their environments, talk to users. You can draft a questionnaire, you can have an interaction, you can interview them, walk in their shoes. Sometimes you have to just put yourself, and that's what empathize means about. You have to walk in there, you have to put them, you have to put yourself as a design thinker in their shoes. Define is understand the challenges, because I may have many crazy ideas, but I have to understand challenge and I have to map the ideas with the challenges. Define problems based on the user insights. So once I interview them, once I put myself into their shoes, I get the insights, and I need to define problems based on the insights. Then I have to articulate design vision. Now this is very tricky. This is where you have to put on the table, and all the team members have to put their expertise and experience. They have to bring it to the table. Then ideate, create a library of ideas, go wide, focus on volume and variety. So just try to have enough number of ideas, not only in terms of variety, but also in terms of volume and depth also. Prototype, go for cheap, low resolution interactive ways to explore concepts and uh, test these hypotheses. And then when you test, you gather feedback, you refine and retest prototype, and then you go with implementation. That's user contextual, and you have to observe a lot many aspects when you actually implement the prototypes. This is specifically, this slide is made for students. So as academicians, we can follow certain design principles, and we can make sure that our students gather mastery, they obtain mastery through courses, and these courses need to have structure. As faculty members, as pedagogy practitioners, what we have to do is you have to go with progression, and you have to define various formats and forms for process tracking systems and assessment part. When you focus on assessment, you have to think about grading part. And when you want to differentiate and when you want to inculcate this whole design courses and assessment into actual practice, you have to think about the annual academic calendars. And these annual academic calendars actually lead to support from lot many people who are associated with, like lab technicians, faculty members, policy makers. And you create, by doing this, you create opportunities to learn, because once the whole assessment part, the courses and the progress tracking is into practice, and they are interwoven with the annual calendars, they really create one ecosystem. And these ecosystems at college level make the students career ready. So there are certain colleges which have very these courses, like we also have in GTU, we have a design subject, design engineering subject. So now once you understand this slide, perhaps you can very well understand that why design thinking is very much part of our curriculum. These are 9 benefits of design thinking. I won't spend much time over here, but inquiry, complexity, collaboration, empathy, Rapid prototyping, integrated thinking, and taste through observation is very much part of it. But one which stands out is visual problem solving. So this is because when you are thinking about visual modeling and various techniques for processes, you have to think about, like if you are designing the Google search window, you need to have this visual problem solving approach, because anyway Google search engine is working very well, but you are trying to give good user experience so that it becomes effective in nature. Now we enter the second part of the uh, first title segment, that is design thinking process. So design thinking, first thing first, it's a non-linear process. Now we need to understand this. You start from empathize and you go up to test. But here, when you test, you can learn about user through testing. So once I learn, if I get some, so it's a closed loop kind of systems, and it is closed loop at many juncture points. So from taste, you can go back to empathize. So I have understood, I have put myself in a user's shoes, and now I already gone through the whole process hierarchy. And while testing, I can learn through user uh, aspects. So I can go back to empathize. Likewise, I have gone from empathize to define. And define, sometimes when I put the problem aspects, uh, I can go back to empathize and perhaps refine my empathization process. Likewise, I have created the prototype, but from prototype, from beta this, I can understand, learn from prototypes to spark new ideas, because sometimes you are designing a, a working model for a process or for a product, and it can give you the eureka moment, and this eureka moment can take back to your ideation part. So one of the wildest imagination idea which you neglected while creating the prototype, at the prototype stage you found that yes, that was better one, so you can go back to ideate part. Same from test also, you can go back to prototype to test new ideas for the project. Same from test, you can also go back to define stage, where it reveals insight that redefine the problem, because sometimes test gives you there are some use case scenarios, and if your use case scenarios are very exploring in nature, you can go back to define and you can really get the uh, you can have new way of defining the problem. So continuing the same non-linear process, empathize is the segment in which the team working on the problem tries to find as much possible about the issue at hand while interacting or encountering the people. At defined stage, it is the actual definition of the problem at hand, and it is elaborative in nature. And basically, what you try to do is you just try to give uh, varying kind of results for the same issue tackled by different teams. So yes, there are some processes or products where you can have three teams, and they were part of the empathize team, but when they define the problem, elaborative in nature, they may come up with different problem definitions. It is very much possible. Ideate, where the team begins to come up with the ideas for solving the issues, and then you have to sit together, and as I said, you have to discuss the ideas extensively, and you have to refine them also. Here is the prototype, where the team comes up with a prototype of the solution. It can be real life prototype or on a paper one, where the team tests the prototype in the problematic environment and they monitors the results. That's the test part. So now I have added one another point, that is plan and build. So instead of prototype, now I say plan and build. So understand, define, ideate, plan, build, and then test. So now this is the elaborative part. So these are 5 phases of design thinking process. We know them, we have discussed them in the last slides, but this slide talks about the activities and the deliverables. So in the empathize phase, you have to go for user interviews. You can make informal checks, observation. You can do the shadowing process. You can also take picture taking or immersive approach. What are the deliverables? Personas, empathy map. You can create empathy map, and we'll discuss one empathy map as an example. List of user feedback and problems identified. These are the deliverables. In the designs a defined stage, what are the activities as a design thinking team you undergo? Workshops, stakeholder meetings. You are going to meet the stakeholders. Focus group. You can create the focus group. And what are the deliverables? Stakeholder map, context map, customer journey map, opportunity map, and design brief. These are the deliverables at the end of the second stage. Third stage is ideate. What are the activities? Ideation activity. What are the ideation activities? Brainstorming sessions, workshops, mind maps. Like concept map are there. There are mind maps. There are many business processes and products which follow these mind maps. Sketching and drawing. You can do a lot many stuff in ideation phase to put your ideas into sketches and drawings. For processes also we do it. And what are the deliverables? Idea maps or concepts, sketches, affinity map, prioritization map. If there are multiple features, what are the prioritization map? It is very significant. And idea evaluation. So these are the deliverables. In prototype, what are the deliverables? Wireframes, storyboards, and physical or digital prototypes. And what are the activities? Paper construction, space prototyping, digital prototyping, wireframe building. Car design, automobile sector, and all this, they majorly go for wireframing. There are other industries also, not only the manufacturing industries, but there are other industries also we go for wireframes. Storyboards. In Google or Amazon, at many places they have kept these whiteboards. They call them storyboards, and there are many teams who are working, who are called design teams. They actually use these storyboards and role plays. And when you are in test, what are the activities? Picture taking, evaluation, discussion, observation. And what are the deliverables? Evaluation map, propose refinement, list of user feedback, because in test it is significant to have the listing of user feedback and observation. These are the deliverables. So this is, in a nutshell, is all the process related explanation of design thinking. Now we enter the second model of design thinking, which is called the double diamond model. Now this double diamond model has many Ds: discover, define, develop, and deliver. So what is discover? Insight. It creates insight into the problem. What is define? The area to focus on. See, from empathize to taste is one model. This is the second model. But if you, there are a lot many synergy points. There are a lot many common points or commonalities between these two models, and you will observe them while we discuss this double diamond model. Define the areas to focus on. Develop what are the potential solutions, and deliver solutions that work with users. So we start with triggering event. So this triggering event articulates the problem or design challenge, and it enters two phases: analysis and synthesis part. And what are the major analysis? Is a divergent in nature, and synthesis is converging in nature. And that's why you can see that's why it's double diamond. So here the diamond is opening up, divergent, many avenues you are opening up in analysis. In synthesis, it is convergence. And what are the activities? Ask, try, look, and it is repetitive in nature. So you ask many times, you try one by one, and you look for the solutions. Once this one diamond is over, you are at the stage of design brief. So now your design brief is ready. What does your design brief provide? It provides the point of view, a clear opportunity to generate ideas. And again, you enter the second stage of diamond, that is analysis and synthesis. Again, divergence and convergence in nature. But here, the activities have changed. Now your activities is learn, prototype, and measure, and it is repetitive in nature. It is iterative in nature. So learn, prototype, and measure. You do it a number of times, and then you go with the proven concept. And this proven concept basically focuses trial and error with users to define the solution. So this is the prima facie understanding of double diamond framework. Now this we extend the same double diamond framework here. There are three: opportunity space, opportunity statement, and then solution. Solution, once I get the solution, iteratively prototype and test concepts with potential users. So it's a closed loop system, and it goes like this. From opportunity space, you identify and understand the needs of the end users through co-creation. Then you go to iterative design. In your iterative design, you ideate and develop concepts based on the identified opportunities. Then you go back to solution. From solution, you go back to test. In test, you gather feedback, analyze and interpret needs to map them into the diagram. So this is how opportunity space, opportunity statement and solution is covered in a closed loop system in iterative fashion. Now, this slide has all the things which I have discussed, but it is value addition. What does it add? When you are opportunity identified, it is all about idea, insight, legislation, and market change. At the junction point, when you are at opportunity statement or defined statement, it is vision and plan. And at the end, it is key performance indicators. It need to be up because you are either doing refinement to the existing process, you are introducing a new process or a product. So in any case, your KPIs, key performance indicators, should be up because there is always room for better products, better processes. If you are negatively addressing the existing processes or products, people are not going to buy it. There is no going, it's not going to serve the purpose. So your revenue, conversion, customer satisfaction, brand building, all this is addressed. But here the mantra is very clear. In the first part, design the right thing. Understand why and define how. So you understand the product, you understand the process, and design the right thing using whys and hows. But in the second diamond phase, design the thing right. Now your whys and hows are over. Now you are on to that particular solution. So design the thing in a rightful manner. So design the right thing, first diamond. Design the thing rightfully, in rightful nature is second part. So create the desired outcome iteratively. So here, so basically what you try to do is, sometimes we are very good with empathize part and ideate part and design part. But when we actually execute or when we create the prototype or implement the concept, we cut corners or we compromise some parameters or we compromise the qualitative part of the parameters. So design the thing right actually stops you from doing that. Stops you from compromising the rightful product or processes. And for that, you can iteratively refine your outcome. So design the thing right and design the right thing has a lot of meaning, undercurrent meaning. So one more time, if I have one process, you can say that I can take 2 weeks for first diamond, I can take 2 weeks for design the thing right, and then there are 8 weeks for minimum viable environment or minimum viable product where I'm going to actually work on the building prototype and testing and all this. So this is design thinking framework and it is given by Design Council United Kingdom. Again, discover, define, develop and deliver is there, but what and why and then how is clearly defined for one particular use case. So there is a questionnaire or a vision statement of intent, and then you map with who is involved. Then you understand, you meet people, understand their daily experiences, you understand their casual influences, then you identify the themes on which you want to work. So now we are very clear with the opportunity or brief on which the base idea are resting. And then you go with how. So you see like rapid testing of ideas, refining the business model, measuring the impact. So these are the activities you carry out during the how phase. So once we understand both the models, now we come to that design thinking cannot act as an isolated island. So design thinking is what about exploring the problem. But there is a concept called lean startup. Now, what is a lean startup? It's a novel idea, and I have included here because build the right things has a lot to do with lean startup, and then agility, build the thing right. So let us try to understand this. So there is a difference between design thinking approach and lean startup approach. See, design thinking is addressing broad questions. Lean startup is addressing targeted questions. Design thinking is all about needs driven. Lean startup is all about hypothesis driven. Design thinking, multidimensional problem. Lean startup, and that's why we use the word lean startup approach, narrowly defined problem. Design thinking, limited market or pre-market, lean startup, in market. And sometimes you already have the competitors, and you are very narrow window to launch the new product or refine your existing product so that you remain in the market. The best example is Tiago car. Tata was already there, but for that particular car segment, they were not making profit. They had no market share. So they in a very short span, they came up with one very good model called Tiago car, and it has really brought Tata's into the market segment. This is my observation. I may be, but if you check the statistics of those 3 years pre-TRO launch stuff, then you can perhaps agree with my statement. Exploration is design thinking approach. Refinement is lean startup approach. So design thinking has undefined opportunities. Here there is defined solutions. So design thinking, that's why has empathize, prototype, and taste. But lean startup has build, measure, and learn. So this is for infinity model for design thinking, and there are total 10 steps. Set the context, align the team. Building the right team is always a challenge for any startup or for any design team leader. Design team leader. Discover the context and needs. Fourth is identify jobs to be done. Fifth is brainstorm solutions, then prototype, followed by validate, and then comes develop the solution, and then pilot and implement, pilot projects or beta version, what we call it, and implement. And then is sustain and grow. And once it is there, it's a growth stage or a growth phase. So how do we do it? So there are many tools and methods available. So again, we go back to the first model where the plan has like beautiful questions, stakeholder mapping, context mapping. If I say reframe, it has tools like create a reframed stuff. Ideate has solutions A to Z, gallery stole, brain writing, brand hijacks. So these are very market stuff. But now we come to the first model, first stage, empathy. So what is empathy? It's all about see their world, your end users, the users for whom you are trying to provide the solution or the process or want to come up with a product. See their world. Appreciate them as human beings. Because unless and until you appreciate them as human beings, you cannot create with a novel solution for people who are working in construction sites or hazardous manufacturing plant or hazardous metal or chemical plants, metal malting plants. So appreciate them as human beings. Communicate what you understand with them. Understand their feeling, and once you do it, your empathize is not one stage. It is across the stage of the complete design thinking process. So empathize, instead of putting at one component, it is now spread it across the entire spectrum of design thinking process. It affects define, ideate, prototype, and test. And that's why for Jenny who wants to buy a TV, this is the empathy map. And it has four quadrants: says, thinks, feels, and does. So what does that Jenny do? He or she checks the website, lists pros and cons, does more research, asks his or her friends, observe various products in store, postpones big decisions, sometimes keeping the finance into mind, makes small decisions. What does he or she says? I was expecting something different. What do you think? What size is best? These are his or her routine questions. Where should I start? What brand do I like? I want something reliable. These are the safe parts. These are the thinking exercises. Wasting too much time? I want something else. Do they think I'm stupid? Because sometimes you visit certain stores and they give you some products and you think, do they think I'm stupid? Why is this so hard? What else am I missing? Am I missing some point on buying a TV? What is best for me? Which TV is best for me? That's important part of the this too many acronyms because I say LCD, a lot many terms and acronyms. What does he or she feel? Overwhelmed, excited, there is fear, inadequacy, anxiety, anxiousness, users who to trust, whom to trust. These are so this is the empathy map just to buy a TV. So now I enter the second stage of the conventional design thinking model. That's the defined stage in design thinking. Now this defined stage has three dimensions: user, need, and insight. What does it provide? User need and insight provides three major stuff. Develop insights, user perspective. Define a point of view, need perspective. And create problem statement, that is insight perspective. Now once I do it, I can understand the closed loop system of the design thinking process. So discovery, ideation, experimentation, and evolution. This is regarding the second model. So evaluation has, you can think evaluation has three part: rethink, redesign, and repeat. Experimentation has prototype, test, and evaluate. And ideation has interpret and create. And you can see rethink, redesign, and repeat takes the non-linear closed loop system one stage, two stage, and three stage back respectively. So your discovery is all about empathy, research, and problem definition. But you can completely go for repeat. Your ideation may have interpret and create, but you can completely go with redesign and experimentation, rethink. So repeat is experimentation, rethink is this, and ideation. So there's a difference between business thinking and design thinking. Business thinking is very limited in nature. It is it's not broadly focused. There are a set of problems and you want to aim the solution. So that is business thinking. There's a difference between design thinking and business thinking. Companies who could not survive the market, like Kodak is one example. There are many software industries also, or companies also, which could not survive the dot-com bubble and all this. Because what was missing was design thinking. Because you have to first understand, then you come to a variety of different types of problems, and then you think about the solution. So instead of having the business thinking approach, if you are like if you are a visionary leader for your company, you will go with design thinking rather than going for business thinking. And this is the same story. So continuing with my industry example, there are three major segments: design thinking, lean user experience, and lean minimum viable product development. And on x-axis, you have got need analysis, shipment, and release. On the y-axis, your plan and model. So when you are in the design thinking phase, identify the primary need, user research, then mock up and analyze, followed by review and prioritize, and then model with thought experiments. Now you enter the lean user experiments, where it is a prototype and test model, which is repetitive in nature. So it's a review and update model. And once you come with this minimum viable product, which is highlighted, which is driven by new ideas, then you go with build, explore, test, feedback. Build, explore, test, and feedback, many a number of types. And that's where your shipment and release part is highlighted. So once I understand all this, now I have to understand I have to merge these two topics like design thinking and innovation. So design thinking, where is it? So there are three major aspects which as a learner we need to understand: business viability, people desirability, and technology feasibility. So business viability and people desirability gives you cross section which is called emotional innovation. But technology feasibility and business viability gives you process innovation. Simultaneously, people desirability and technology feasibility gives you functional innovation. And when you put emotional innovation, functional innovation, and process innovation, the cross-section point is experience innovation. And that is being touched by design thinking. And that's why exercise to test is all about design thinking, and that's why experience innovation. So this is innovation process which is intensely kept blurred in so business, human values, and technology. And let us explain them. So business has a lot to do with viability. Human values has a lot to do with usability and desirability. Like human values has a psychology, anthropology, sociology, need finding. The cross-section part of technology and human values is design and interactivity. That is human computer interaction, HCI, which is one major research area not only for industry, for researchers also. Visual thinking and aesthetics and form. Aesthetics, yes, lot many creative geniuses actually work in this aesthetics part. Design for sustainability, like design for environment, there is a concept called design for sustainability. So it's the merging point or cross-section part of human values and technology. If you look at technology only, that is the feasibility part, then you think about materials, bioengineering, thermodynamics, chemical engineering, statistics, dynamics, engineering analysis, electronics and mechatronics, programming methodology. They are all purely technology aspects, which addresses feasibility part. But in technology and business, the cross-section is manufacturing. Because business is all about accounting, finance, marketing, operation, IT, entrepreneurship. And technology is all about bioengineering, materials, thermodynamics, chemical, electronics, mechatronics, programming, engineering analysis, and all this. But what is the cross-section point of these two? Technology and business, manufacturing. Manufacturing technology, process, supply chain management, and the important one, rapid prototype. But the cross-section point of all these three, technology, business, and human values, is nothing but it is design innovation. So this design innovation, what does it provide us? So technology, business, and user, when they are combined at macro design thinking level, they give you product. But what kind of product they give you? If you just combine business and user, it cannot give you the perfect product paradigm. If you just combine user experiences and technology, it may not give you the best product user aspects. But if you combine these three, user, technology, and business, it can give you product which has aesthetics, color, form, material, functional aspects, design, functions, emotions, interface, human product interaction, and feasibility. So it caters these many parameters. So if I accept the same example, same use case on the x-axis, the major domains to observe for is design thinking, lean startup, design sprint, and agile. It is a Scrum model. But you can see here, design thinking and lean startup has overlapping part. Same is with design sprint, agile and lean startup has many overlapping parts. So on x-axis, you have got no business model, unvalidated business model, and in the last, validated business. And on the y-axis, you start with problem, then solution, and then the market aspects. So when I'm very much part of validated, non-validated business model and problem defined, I go with empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. But if I am into the unvalidated model with solution in mind, I go with experiment, test, and learn. But when I unvalidated model and validated model with market is there, I go with plan, sprint, review, retrospective. And that's where the commonality is map, decide, sketch, prototype, and test. So what I want to convey through these last two slides, what I want to convey is this. This is the idea which I wanted to convey to this student community or the viewers. So here I can say that we always used to believe that design thinking is part of design bubble and technology and business are two separate ideas. But that is not the case. Design thinking encircles three major components: design, business, and technology. So now you can see earlier stage, we also always used to believe that it's a design thinking is a subset of design. But now design thinking in this contemporary world encircles design, technology, and business. And one more time, now you can understand what is design thinking. Design thinking is all about the needs of people, the possibility of technology, and the requirements for success. That means desirability with respect to people, feasibility with respect to technology, and viability for success. That's where the answer is. So you start with desirability and you end with the cross section of viability and feasibility. That means if I sum up all these past 7 to 8 slides, I can say that if anything is market desirable, technologically feasible, and business viable, I can say that the common ground is design. That means if it is feasible implementation, sustainable business, and user-centric design, human-centered design, user-centric design, then it is design. That means still it's not that much easy. It has 3 major parts: ideation, implementation, and inspiration. So you can start with ideation. You can do a lot many brainstorming, and then you go with execution, because the cross section of implementation and ideation is prototypes. But in implementation, when you go with execution, you have to communicate to the end users. And when you communicate, there is a lot many observation aspects. And this observation falls under inspiration. So inspiration has 2 major stuff: telling stories, which leads to brainstorming, and observation, which leads to telling stories. From brainstorming, again you go to ideation, prototypes, and then execution, and then communication. So this is how it actually is. So from inspiration to implementation, for implementation to inspiration is also there. Implementation to inspiration, inspiration to ideation, ideation to implementation. So this is how this complex model of design thinking actually works in real world scenario. So by doing this, what we want to achieve, we want to achieve innovative solutions. How do we achieve it? Needs of people, capabilities of technology, and business success requirements. That means design innovation has attained human values in terms of usability and desirability, business viability, and technological feasibility. That means how to drive into innovation in design thinking. So, 3 major questions. When you are a design team leader, you ask 3 major questions. Can it be viable? Can we make it? That is feasibility part. And will people like it? Desirability question. And if these 3 questions, the answer to these 3 major questions is direction, I can say it is useful. So now we are moving from design thinking to innovation. But before that, there is for innovation sweet spot. What is that? So you know desirability, viability, and feasibility with respect to human, business, and technology aspects respectively. There is a 4th dimension attached to it. Once we come to innovation sweet spot, that is integrity, impact. So you create something. What is the impact? So after Mr. Steve Jobs used white color for iPhones, there are many domains where these various white color models are getting into market. Not only with mobile devices, not only with laptops and tablets, but with many website designs, web portal designs. Now they have started using white colors and various shades of white. Same with sofa sets. Otherwise, it was difficult to get sofa sets of white color, but now they believe. So this is the impact of one person coming up with, and what is the impact of that integrity model? So once I understand that design's innovation sweet spot, there are 3 major stuff. You know desirability, feasibility, and viability. And as SSIP ecosystem, you have come across this value called POC, proof of concept. You are also aware of proof of market. But this proof of concept, proof of market actually addresses three major stuff: problem fit, solution fit, and growth fit. Growth fit is all about this scalability is possible. Then your business can go into the scale phase. So when it is problem fit and desirability, it is proof of value. When it is feasibility and solution fit, there are 2 major: proof of concept and proof of market. But when it is viability and growth fit, when your product is growth fit and it has all features of viability, then it is proof of impact. That's where the iPhone example is there. That means ideally is all about preparation, incubation, illumination, and revision. Now, coming back to my business use case. Technology layer, design layer, and business layer. And what you are looking at various products, keeping consumer, human, and user in mind. So, technology layer says needs to function flawlessly. That is the requirement of technology. Design layer, what is the aim, objective? Needs to solve human problems, keeping human in mind, design layer. What is the business layer? Business people always think about consumers. So need to generate revenue to products. So now I come to, it's a quantum jump, I come to two aspects, user interface and user experience. Now why these slides are there? Because there are so many, I say products and processes. Now you understand the processes, products and various web portals or operations. So when we started with software, we have very much observed the command line interface. Then came GUI, graphical user interface. And when they created agile models of graphical user interface, now we call it only UPI, user interface. It is very much part of design. But there is another dimension of design, that is UX, user experience. So user interface is all about visual design, colors, graphics designers, layouts, typography. And when you think about certain social networking sites or certain ICT products, or when you think about certain websites or web portals, you can very well map this design, visual design to typography with that. But what about user experience? Scenarios, user research, interaction design, wireframes and prototypes, and information architecture. So all this is all about user experience. So what is user experience? So the largest set or the superset is customer experience, CX. How your overall company engages with the users. The subset is user experience. How is the experience of the user while using their product? Intentionally I kept it blurred because we are going to we have some following slides. And user interface, how your product looks visually. So now comes the answer. Customer experience is an umbrella concept encompassing all channels and all products within the same brand and how the user feels about them. And I give you one simple example. Hindustan Level Limited, one umbrella term, or the Tata Group. User experience, computer interaction, usability, interaction design, visual design, information, architecture, user research. A user interface is interface design and visual design. That means, again, UI is visual design and motion design. But user experience is all about interactive and content strategy. But when I say the superset, customer experiences, it can have non-digital products, store or office, brand strategy, customer service, sales strategy, and all this, because it is a superset. So if I combine this previous stuff with my lean startup, agility and design thinking, I have now abstract part and concrete part. Because now we are very much clear with the products and processes, web portals and web services and applications. So I combine design thinking, lean startup and agility. So agile is all about sprint review, shippable increment, sprint execution and product backlog with sprint plan. But lean startup is all about try experiments, pivotal models, measure and build. So if I sum up all the previous 15 slides, I can say this concrete and abstract has three major: inspire, ideate, and implement. So this is design thinking innovation process. So it is combining these two, innovation and design thinking. And what are the stages of this process? Define the challenge, observe the people, and form insights, which is inspire part. From then onwards, frame opportunities, brainstorm ideas, it is ideate part. And try experiments is implement part. So if I achieve that, I can go with sustainable development. And sustainable development has economic aspects, social aspects, environmental aspects, and government aspects. Now I come to the innovation part, the second part of my talk. Creativity, invention, and innovation. What is the difference? Creativity, the act of turning new and imaginative ideas into reality. It's one layman's way of defining creativity. How do we look at innovation? Creation of a new idea or a new concept. And what is innovation? Turning a new concept into commercial success or widespread use. Still not clear? Let us more time. Innovation and invention. Invention talks about unrealized inventions. Innovation is adaptive innovations. So, innovative invention is the cross section. If you are still not clear, let us try to understand invention versus innovation. Invention is a novel product or device or process or concept. Innovation is the introduction of a newer and better solution that meets new requirements or existing market needs. Invention requires knowledge, competence, and sorry. Innovation requires technical knowledge, competence, knowledge about market needs, trends, and financial support. Invention examples are invention of the printing press, like Gutenberg, electricity, Thomas Alva Edison, telephone, Alexander Graham Bell. These are the examples of inventions. Innovation, what are the examples? The introduction of the iPhone, mobile new product. What is it? Adding value to something already exists, that is innovation. On concept level, invention is original idea and it's working in theory. Innovation is concept-wise practical implementation of a new idea. Invention, the skill required is scientific skill. Innovation, the skill set required is marketing, technical and strategic skills. Invention occurs when new idea strikes a scientist. It's like Newton's apple example or Archimedes' eureka moment. Innovation occurs when need for improvement in the new or existing product. Invention is concerned with single product or process. Innovation is concerned with combinations of various products and processes. Invention activities are limited R&D spread across the organization is innovation. So once you understand this, now you can understand types of creativity: deliberate, cognitive, and spontaneous. Spontaneous creativity operates as a part of conscious awareness resulting in epiphanies. Cognitive characteristics include periodically stepping away from a problem and discipline in the way you work. And it gives you emotional creativity, where aha moments are found. Often needs writing, musical, or artistic skill to help create ideas. The example is Mr. Steve Jobs attended the calligraphy classes, and that's why Apple Macintosh 1 came up with those font sizes. Is the example of creativity. There are 5 types of creativity: divergence thinking, lateral thinking, aesthetic thinking, system thinking, and inspirational thinking. So there are many examples of innovation, because innovation we always believe, but innovation has many examples. If I talk about technology innovations, from electricity was major one, then semiconductors, and then the latest one is the internet. If I talk about product innovation, cars, then planes and iPad. If I talk about process innovation, assembly line, you think about the Ford company, the manufacturing plant who actually implemented this assembly line. Then Kaizen concept, a Japanese philosophy very much incorporated into not only Japanese companies but European and American companies also, Kaizen concept. And now the latest process innovation example is lean startup, and we already seen this lean startup, based on which the Uber success stories are been part of. Finance innovation, mortgages when the concept was introduced, it was a novel one. Derivatives, and there is a famous statement from Mr. Warren Buffett regarding derivatives. And venture capitalists. Venture capital is very much part of the Silicon Valley, which is also part of the ecosystem innovation. Cultural innovation, civil rights movement, entrepreneurship, and K-pop. Legal innovation, corporations, class action lawsuits, and now startup visa. Startup visa is the latest legal innovation ecosystem component. And ecosystem innovation, Rome, and that's why it said Rome was not built in a day. Then London, New York Center, and now the latest ecosystem innovation is the latest addition is Silicon Valley. So these are the type of innovation examples. So one more time, let's go back to our innovation part. Possible, usable, and valuable, that is innovation. So this is the example of innovation. Is a designing and offering a new to the organization or to the market or to the industry. It provides a new value proposition that offers beneficiaries the benefits of functional and progress. It improves during value to co-creation and is delivered through the scalable and sustainable coordination of skills and resources. So now, here we come to product innovation. It represents a new way of solving a problem a higher number of consumers have. And you can think about a Hindustan Liver Limited executive, or you can think about somebody who is working in an FMCG company. Relevant, obvious, and better. So, because now we are in the innovation part, there are 10 types of innovation. And there are 3 major dimensions: configuration, offering, and experience. And you can have 30 case studies for 2019 types of innovations. We are not going to discuss because of the time constraint, but configuration aspects, there are 4 major dimensions: profit model, network, structure, and process. Offering part innovation is 2 examples: product performance, product system. And on the experience dimension, there are 4 types of innovations: service, channel, brand, and customer engagement. Facebook is the customer engagement example. They introduced videos on Facebook and the customer engagement has really gone up. Channel, Amazon Prime is the example. Brand, Google or Apple is the example. Service, Google is the example. So 10 types of innovation: process, offering, delivery, and finance. So configuration, profit model, network, structure, and process. Structure is all about alignment of your talents and assets. That is configuration innovation. Configuration type innovation. Network type innovation, connections with others to create value. The way it's human networking, business networking, that's where farm to factory model works. Profit model, the way in which you make money. Best example is Amazon. Product performance, distinguishing features and functionality. Google search engine. It was not the very first search engine, but it was the most effective one and created a $1 billion company. Product performance, because it has distinguishing features and functionality. Product system, complementary products and services. It's like in social networking sites, WhatsApp. Service, support and enhancements that surround your offerings. Channel, how your offerings are delivered to customers and users. I already told you this Amazon Prime. Brand, representation of your offerings and business. Apple is the example. Customer engagement, distinctive interactions you foster. Facebook is the example. So, same configuration. There are 10 types of innovations and 3 major areas: configuration, offering, and experience. Offering is all about platform-centric innovation. It includes product performance and product system, and it is easier to implement. Experience, it is experience-centric innovation, and that's why the major ICT companies are part of it. Google, Apple, Amazon Prime, Facebook, because it is harder to copy. Service, channel, brand, and customer engagement. And bolder concepts, it is configuration types of innovations. It is business model centric innovation. And that's why still conventional companies are very much part of configuration type of innovation. There is a profit model, Amazon, network, human networking I talked about, structure and processes. And it is bolder concepts. Say, there are various types of innovations apart from those 10, though they fall under the same categories. But what are the, as design thinkers, as innovation ecosystem stalwarts, what do you think about? You think about what value offering should be developed. Which opportunities and subjects should we pursue? What should we become? It is all about horizontal integration and vertical integration. If I am if I am making plastic bottles and if I set up 10 plants, making the same plastic bottles of various sizes, horizontal. Vertical, I keeps on adding a lot many products to my kitty as a business conglomerate. It's called vertical integration. So, innovation has applied research, discovery research, idea generation, engineering development, testing and scale up, piloting, demonstration, new products and services. And that's where vertical integration of Google is the example. Google is no longer only a search company. This is the innovation life cycle. Problem identification, methodology choice, engagement plan, evaluation and prioritization, building ideas into products and idea implementation. And why innovation this much? Because this is the challenge. Incubation to innovate. Incubate to innovate. And there are two major points to consider: authentic learning and sustainable change. And what are the dimensions for incubators to innovate? Connect, research, synthesize, imagine, plan, create, and collaborate. When you are in the plan phase, analyze and develop. When you are in imaging phase, brainstorm. When you are in synthesize, define. When you are going for connect, communicate and continue. When you are in collaborate part or in that dimension, evaluate your collaborative aspects. And create is all about construct and taste. So this is the complete ecosystem of incubators. And incubation, if they are working for innovation, this is the path they need to follow. And once they follow it, this is user experience, UX, industrial design, and human-computer interaction. See, there is a lot less part of industrial design, but user experience, it is quite dominating. So interaction design has a lot to do with various aspects like human factors, usability engineering, and user interface engineering. Now, these human factors, usability engineering, and human interface engineering has its roots with HCI, human-computer interaction. Information architecture, communication design, and portions of user interface engineering. I repeat, information architecture, communication design, and user interface engineering has a lot to do with user experience design. And if I take the cross-section part, and if I put as intersection model, I come with interaction design. So interaction design very much falls in the major part of user experience design, but it has the points or components of industrial design, but three major components of HCI and three major components of UX, user experience design. Now I come to different category of type of innovation. How well is the domain defined and how well is the problem defined? These are two basic questions. And when I ask these two basic questions, I get to four types of innovations. How well the problem is defined, not well and well. How well is the problem defined, not well and well. Same aspects on Y and X axis, same points to consider, but it gives me four types. Basic research, disruptive innovation, sustaining innovation, and breakthrough innovation. Basic research is all about academic partnerships, journals, conferences, research divisions, and all this. That's what we academicians are very much part of the ecosystem. Sustaining innovation, where everything is well defined. It is all about road mapping, like roadmap for NEP 2020 or roadmap for SSIB 2.0. R&D labs, design thinking, and acquisitions. Why Google is acquiring so many, doing so many mergers and acquisitions? Sustaining innovation is the type. Disruptive innovation, 10, 15 or 20% rule, lean launch pad, venture capitalist model, disruptive innovation. And breakthrough innovations, Marvaris, Open Innovation Prizes is part of it. So, when you are working with product innovation, you have to focus on background, focus, objectives, and guidelines. This is the innovation journey map. And there are many aspects: idea validation, innovation to market. You have to realize the solution, needs of dreams, dream team assembly. I put major thrust onto it. Neuro ideation, disruptive moment, idea validation, and then you go for global scaling. This is corporate innovation maturity model. Now, innovation maturity is something very crucial and very critical also. Initial introduction to innovation is level 1. It is exposed kind. It is like CMM 5 level model kind of stuff. And the highest level is level 5. It is experience 1. So experience level maturity model in innovation is level 5. But there are stages. First one is initial levels of innovation introduction. It is exposed. It is like kind of awareness, kind of not ready, ready kind of stuff. Then educating level, learning, engaging, innovating, and engaging in short term innovation is educating level of innovation maturity. And many of our POC teams, student teams, they are in this educating part. They are innovating, engaging in short term learning. Then comes experimenting. It is rigid in sense sometimes, which is not preferable, but experimenting in large scale investment is required. Then holistic. This is where the scale up, growth scale or growth phase, holistic, supportive, formalizing, and different. And then experience. That is the highest maturity model. So based on this 9 principles of innovation of Google. So Google has this. Ideas are everywhere. That is one mantra given by Google. Customer focus, 10% and more. Google has given this 10 and 20% projects to their employees, where the employee has the freedom to spend their 10% of the time, which is not defined by their higher or by the company called Google. They can devote 10% of time on their favorite projects or aspects. And this 10% project have given us so many products like Google Maps or Chrome browser. So they have also made millions out of it. 10% project, 20% time. Rely on the data and launch and correct it. So these are various types of innovation: business model, platform strategy. If I concentrate on business model, the lowest form of innovation is disruption to single sector, like taking an existing solution, moving it into a new market. And these are the examples. But reform kind of innovation, existing question with a brand new answer. Friendster, MySpace.com, Facebook is the example. And radical innovation is Grameen Bank. Grameen Bank is, I suppose it's a Bangladesh-based example, brand new, and it's a completely novel idea to uplift the rural farmer community and supportive people. So incremental innovation, radical, disruptive, and sustaining. Technology newness, low and high. Impact on the market, low and high. Incremental is low on both sides, x-axis and y-axis. Radical is high on newness, but low on impact. Disruptive is high on both sides. And sustaining is low on newness, but impact very high. So, invention, innovation, improvement, and product creation. And from invention to impact, this is the complete ecosystem. In one frame, you can say invention, innovation, improvement, and impact. And how does it start? It starts with opportunities and challenges. Then it goes into the invention part, generating ideas. Then it comes the innovation spectrum, developing and testing and making the case. That is 3 and 4. And then it goes with improvement, delivering and implementing, growing and scaling, and then changing the whole system. The way we buy cars, or the way we order online, or we make online purchase, changing systems, complete change of system. Same example. So an end-to-end innovation process is all about insight, and the final is scale of the model. So it's all about creativity, open innovation, design thinking, agile software. When you are in solution part, agile software, lean startup. And when solution and business model is combined, it is business model canvas. Business model canvas is very much part of our design engineering. So this is how you actually go from one solution to another when you are doing the business model canvas. One more time, UI, UX, CX, and service design. Service design and customer experience design can be analog, can be digital, but UX and UI very much digital. So UI design is all about usability, human-computer interaction, and interactive design. But system design has social innovation. But service design has strategy, marketing, industrial design, and behavioral sciences. So what is customer experience? So user experience meets customer experience. So customer experience is all about user experience and user interface. So user experience is all about user advocacy, testing, research, stories, validity, reliability, and user driven. And this is how my interaction design and user experience is. It has flavors of sound design, human computer interaction, human factors, industrial design, architecture, visual design, content, because content is the key, information architecture. I have 2-3 minutes left. So one more time. This is design is all about experience and appearance, but experience is all about emotion and solutions, and appearance is all about color and layout. That's why I can say design is all about experience and appearance. This is the digital design thinking: data, real time, low cost, agile, inclusive, and country. This is user experience, brand, offering, and channels. So let us enter this product thinking. User first, job to be done, and output. Three major areas to. So problem, solution, fit, and measure success. So when I go with product model innovation, I have also inculcated digital operation, product configuration, technology solutions, and experience design. Think about any Amazon page. Look upscale, explore, prototype, and select. Cost and buyer value, customer delight. So these are 14 examples of innovation in higher education. 3D printing, free tuition, virtual reality, new pedagogies like Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, video streaming, digital textbooks, learner faculty forms, changing revenue sources, competency-based learning, improved learning management system. Moodle is one example. New degree forms and certificates. Coursera is the example. Open curriculum and courseware. Again, Coursera IDX is the example. Competency-based learning. This slide is one of my favorite. From low customer experience to higher one, from new market to mature market. You can have lead user innovation, then incremental innovation. Then on mature market, you can have disruptive innovation. And on the highest level, you've got the breakthrough innovation. Breakthrough innovation is Google example, page ranking algorithm and all this. Divergence and convergence. We already talked about the focus point of divergence and convergence. So these are the types of innovation, and this is the performance parameters. Process innovation, marketing innovation, organizational innovation. On the performance parameters, we have growth performance, market value performance, customer satisfaction, and profitability. These are the top creative thinking skills: analytical, open-minded. This is the difference between creativity and intelligence. Intelligence is all about ability to acquire knowledge and to utilize it accordingly. And creativity is all about ability to perceive things in a novel manner, create new ideas, concepts, and all this. So problem solving has background, condition analysis, and plan. And this is how problem solving approach. This is the last part of my session, and I'm taking more time than the stipulated one. You start a problem, set a goal, brainstorm the solution, choose one particular solution, make an action plan for that solution, and enjoy the activities. So when I'm in the problem solving process, define the problem, analyze, establish criteria, consider the possible solutions, decide on a solution, implement it, and follow up on the solution. So this is the problem of the problem solving. So what are the problems? Problems not being recognized early is the problem of problem solving. Problems are attributed to people and blame is also problem of problem solving. Jumping to fix the problem without factual analysis is also problem. So this is the problem solving process: define, analyze, generate, evaluate, and implement. And this is the problem solving part: assessment, monitoring, implementation, analysis, measurement, and planning. And every aspect has many co-aspects also. Creative thinking is about creative genius people, and critical thinking is all about problem solving approach. So critical thinking is problem thinking and solution. So critical thinking is all about evaluating the problem, reasoning with the problem, and problem solving the approach. So this is critical thinking skill. Is the ability to think for yourself. Critical thinkers ask questions to learn information, compare facts, and create their own conclusions. So critical thinking is all about evaluation, synthesis, analysis, create, and question. This is the comparison of creative thinking and critical thinking. Creative thinking is all about creative genius people, people who are in the creative aspects. Critical thinking is majorly for people who are going for engineering solutions and solution-centric people. These are various thinking styles: holistic, lateral thinking, like thinking out of box; intuitive thinking, eureka moment; convergent thinking; concrete thinking; analytical thinking. You need for civil engineering, for mechanical engineering, not many analytical thinking ability is needed. Sequential thinking, divergent thinking, abstract thinking. And fourth industrial revolution, this is just for the sake of giving you the example that third industrial revolution was dominated by computing, and fourth industrial revolution will be dominated by intelligence. And I come to the conclusion from Steve Jobs quote: computers are like a bicycle for our minds. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thakur sir, that you have spared your time to provide the knowledge to our student regarding design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. As an institute, we are providing a plenty of opportunity to students to go in this direction, as well as the government is also vigilant enough to provide opportunities to the students. So, by providing such knowledge, we are providing an ample opportunity and the way by which they can look at the new scenario. Because now in upcoming days, things are not about someone is mechanical engineer or someone is computer engineer like that. Every engineering branches are merging and they are coming towards a design of some particular project. So you have taken a pain and you have created a flow which given an idea that how a concept can be implemented and put in market and we can go up to a larger scale. So I thank you very much that this is a very informative session for our students. And I have one information regarding student that in this chat I have inserted one Google form that is regarding feedback of this event. So kindly fill the form, feedback form, and on the basis of that feedback form, the e-certificates will be generated and given to you by 3:30 p.m. today. And that link is open till 1:30. If any one of you has to ask something to sir, then the forum is open. Otherwise, we can close the session. So students, if any one of you wants to ask something to sir, you can ask.
Uh, no single hand is raised, so we can call it a day.
Okay.
Thank you
Sir.
very much. It was a long one, more than 140 slides, but thank you very much for the patient listening, and thank you the organizers for giving me this opportunity on this scale. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Hello, Ravi sir.
Yes, sir.
Nivesh Surani, yes.
Yes, sir. આમાં તમે કીધું ને ચેટમાં લિંક મોકલી છે તો સર લિંક મારે ચેટ છે નહીં. હું ટીમમાં એડ નથી એટલા માટે.
Are you students of GEC Rajkot? Student of GEC
Yes, sir.
Rajkot?
Yes, sir. GEC Rajkot, sir. 4th semester, computer branch.
Then you do one thing. The link, you join the same session using your institute ID. Then in that case, you can see the chat.
Yes, sir. I am joining with the institute ID, but I am not able to see the chat here.
So,
Sir, we are also joined using institute ID, but we also don't get to see chat box. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Same.
sir.
Same problem.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Same problem.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the attendance is available. Okay. So I will send the link on your this GEC Rajkot ID. Kindly fill the form by 2 p.m. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir. So with this, we are completing our session. And if any one of you has any query regarding certificate generation or all, then you can